Sup gamers, Randy Potato here to rank all the skills on the Highwayman. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe. I post new videos every day. Wicked Slice is a front 3 to front 2 rank single target melee attack, dealing a solid base 48 damage and 6 to 9, nice, on upgrade. It also ignores 20% death blow resistance, 30% on upgrade. It also has a relatively high crit rate, 15% on base, 20% on upgrade. This is a solid, hard-hitting attack with a pretty good upside, especially as a boss killer. The main issue is that the Highwayman's best path, Sharp Shot, nerfs this ability. It's obviously pretty good with Rogue if you're not able to use point blank shot, either because you don't want to move or you need to hit rank 2. It doesn't scale and doesn't do anything extra like dots or debuffs except for the DBR, which makes it pretty situational even in melee Highwayman builds. It still fits on most bars because of the DBR, and sometimes you need flat damage, making it a firm, solid tier choice. Pistol Shot is a back 3 to back 3 single target ranged attack, dealing 3 to 6 damage, 4 to 8 on upgrade. On combo, it dazes the target, upgrading to a combo stun. This is a very solid all-around ability despite the relatively low damage. There are very few direct damage abilities at target rank 4, and while this pales in comparison to Iron Swan, it is much more versatile, of course. It benefits from Highwayman's strongest path, Sharp Shot. The scaling is a bit weak because of the low base, but the biggest problem is the unmastered version eats combo tokens in exchange for daze, a pretty weak trade. The stun with upgrade is quite good though. Despite it being useless on Yellow Hand, one of the worst paths in the game, it still slips into the universally useful tier based on the pure versatility of this ability. Duelists Advance is a back 3 to front 3 melee attack that moves you forward 1 while doing 3 to 5 damage, 4 to 6 on upgrade, that also gives you 2 riposte tokens. The upgrade is massive, granting you a 3rd riposte token and a dodge token. The riposte itself does 4 to 6 damage and also has a chance to apply combo. The utility and action economy packed into this skill is absurd. Helps facilitate movement teams, though this can also be a downside, while having very good reach for a melee attack, and of course the continuous damage being pumped back at your enemy with riposte. And the combo is also a strong bonus. The biggest downside is not this skill, but the fact that Sharp Shot is far and away the best path for Highwayman, and this skill is mostly worthless with that build. The skill is also weakened from Darkest Dungeon 1 because of the existence and strength of taunt tokens, which keep DPS heroes like Highwayman clean. Because of this, I can't quite slip this in the universally useful tier. It instead tops the solid category. Tracking Shot is an any rank debuff usable against the back 3 enemy ranks. It ignores and removes all dodge tokens from the target and also applies a combo token. The upgrade also ignores and removes stealth and applies a debuff, blocking the opponent from gaining dodge. This is actually pretty respectable in the early game, giving you a consistent way to generate combo and remove full stacks of dodge, but it falls off strongly with any unlocks. It becomes essentially a never equip, except against very narrow scenarios like the Librarian. And even then, it's often not the greatest way to use a turn. The stealth removal is rarely relevant, and since it's a pure debuff dealing 0 damage, I have to dump it in the trash tier as a mostly wasted action. Tick Aim is a self buff usable from any rank with a 1-turn cooldown. At base, it removes your blind and provides you 1 crit token and 1 dodge token. On upgrade, it adds an additional crit token as well as a speed token. This is among the most broken skills in the entire game and a near mandatory in-1 upgrade on almost any Highwayman build. Even unupgraded, being able to remove your blind and get some sustain is nice, and of course even a single crit token is absurdly powerful, not just in the flat damage increase, but the fact that your exact damage is known to you ahead of time, making it much easier to plan out your turn with future knowledge in tow. The upgrade is disgusting, not only giving you 2 crit tokens, which essentially cancels out the lack of damage on the turn you cast this ability, but also gives you the speed token, meaning you're basically guaranteed to open the start of round 2 with a crit token on board, ready to nuke the target of your choice, while also activating the various turn start trinkets, such as Smoldering Hymnal, which will further boost your insane damage. Obvious OP tier not just for the Highwayman, but for the whole game, and in desperate need of a nerf. Point Blank Shot is a rank 1 to rank 1 ranged nuke dealing 6 to 12 damage, 10 to 13 on upgrade. It moves Highwayman back 1 and knocks the target back 1, while also applying a combo token. This ability is buffed by Highwayman's 2 best paths, Sharp Shot and Rogue. Because of the high top end damage, this skill is also very easy to scale with Take Aim among other damage skills and trinkets. Of course, the major downside that keeps this out of the OP tier is the extreme restrictiveness of the ability. You also need to pair your Highwayman with a hero that's okay in either ranks 1 or 2, which excludes a lot of Leper and Hellion builds. The positional restrictions also hurt you against a number of bosses, like the Sire of the Librarian, although on average your toughest opponents will be large foes that occupy the front rank. Definitely works in the universally useful tier above Pistol Shot. Grapeshot Blast is an AoE attack usable from the back 3 ranks, targeting both ranks 1 and 2. It has very low damage, 2 to 4, though the upgrade is pretty strong at 4 to 6. It has no other effects and a relatively low crit rate. Despite this mediocre damage, however, there are 2 strong benefits with this ability. With Sharp Shot, far and away Highwayman's best path, using Grapeshot will also earn you a strength token. In conjunction with Take Aim, this becomes an AoE doing elite damage, and of course the double targeting of the skill also allows for an additional stress heal with your guaranteed crits, making this a somewhat usable stress heal skill. It's useless on his other paths, but I still fit it in the universally useful tier, because let's be honest, you're always running Sharp Shot on Highwayman unless you're just messing around with new fun builds. Probably slots right above Pistol Shot. Open Vein is a front 3 to front 2 melee bleed attack, doing 3 to 5 damage, 4 to 6 on upgrade, with a 2-point bleed, 3 on upgrade. With combo, you deal double bleed damage. Like his other melee skills, it is hurt on his best path, Sharp Shot. It's also hurt by the fact that bleed scaling trinkets are found in the Shroud, the most difficult and least rewarding region in the game. Though if you fully commit to a bleed team, you could get the double bleed trophy, which would help make this skill playable. But for the most part, I find this weaker than Wicked Slice because of the lower base damage, and while this can scale with combo, I take the upfront damage instead when considering dot resistances. But it still fits in the solid tier and is certainly playable. Double Tap is usable in ranks 2 to 3 and targets either ranks 2 or 3. It's a ranged ability doing 4 to 8 damage, 6 to 9 on upgrade, and also dealing additional damage if the opponent is below a certain HP threshold. It also has a Deathblow resist ignore component like Wicked Slice. The positioning can be awkward and restrictive, mostly the targeting portion since you generally like your Highwayman in 2 or 3. However, the vast majority of bosses, where you'll get the most benefit from extra damage at low HP, can be hit in this range, making it strong in the most important fights in the game. And of course, as a ranged ability it benefits from Sharp Shot, though it's unusable on his other paths. Definitely a core equip in any sort of Sharp Shot DPS build, and I'd slot it right behind Grapeshot in the universally useful tier. Highway Robbery is a unique back 3 to front 3 non-damaging melee attack that will remove 2 positive tokens from the enemy. On upgrade, this ability will take those 2 positive tokens for himself, with a 1-turn cooldown. A fairly niche ability given many fights, especially boss combats, do not generate enemy tokens at all. This, however, is a powerhouse in the fight that do include tokens, such as cultist encounters. It's hard to find a place for this in your toolkit as a DPS hero, and it requires an upgrade to be good most of the time, but it's certainly never a terrible equip. Fits in solid right below Wicked Slice. And finally we have Double Cross, usable from the front 2 against the front 2 ranks, doing a small amount of damage and applying a Vaughn token to the enemy, 2 on upgrade, while also giving yourself a block token. This is useful in fights with a lot of block generation, such as the Tangle and the Act 2 boss, and the Vaughn obviously is great for setup, while the block allows Highwayman to have a bit of tankiness that he lacks compared to other front row DPS. Unfortunately, it's pretty niche in its uses because you generally want your Highwayman to be focusing on damage, not setting up your other DPS. He does not excel in that role. I really struggle to ever find a way to put this on my bar unless I'm doing a weird yellow hand build where I don't need damage for some reason. It's not a bad skill in isolation, but given the totality of the Highwayman's kit, I have to slot it in the top of the trash tier. Overall, the Highwayman is an elite DPS hero that unfortunately is a bit restrictive to play optimally, focusing exclusively on one path and one set of direct damage skills to mindlessly spam, and a lot of support skills that are wholly underwhelming. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe. I post new videos every day.